I live my life like that. And the thing is, like, when I go through my everyday life, I look for the darkness in that light because that's where my actual growth is. Your growth is not during the light times because that's when it's convenient.
Exactly.
It's easy. There's no pressure. You don't have to fight for anything.
Yeah, man.
When you tap into the dark side every day,
that's where the strength
that's where the growing, that's where the real growth starts to come in.
See, my shit just starts like that. Boom. Do you guys have a big intro? No? Do you have some sort of intro?
A small one.
I have nothing but a. That's it. Yeah. This is kind of fun. This is like a pod collab, so to speak. I guess we
could call it that.
Right? Where the action junkies meet Impactpreneurs.
Oh, we got two militants over here.
We do, literally, right?
True story.
Yeah, we've got Byron Rodgers who joining us fresh off the freeway today. Who I don't even know. I just hit up randomly on Instagram. I didn't even think he'd respond, and he did, and here he is.
Heck yeah, man.
Pretty cool.
Boom! It's an honor to be here, man. It's awesome because I love my whole brand is about authenticity, you know. So it's like if someone wants to stick a mic in my face and we go ahead and dig into it, like I'm all about it, you know.
Yeah.
There's no smoke and mirrors. It's just me. So if I made it here, let's do the show.
I love it.
I'm all about it.
I love it. And Davrick of Impactpreneurs.
Right on.
I like it. It's kind of a mouthful, Impactpreneurs.
Right. What
I like
is
it. Yeah. It's
Russian?
good.
A lot of meaning in it, though.
Yeah.
I dig it.
There is.
You both have some military history.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right?
Probably not as much as him, but
tell us. Tell the people.
You sent him old?
No.
As much as that guy. He looks like he went through hell.
Yeah. Tell the Junkeez Nation about you.
Let's see. Military, Army, U.S. Army, Special Forces.
Yeah.
Did a handful of tours in South and Central America.
Wow.
Helping out the CIA, funding their back pockets, right?
Respect.
Right?
Yeah.
I guess I can say that. It's been over 20 years, right?
Yeah. Has it been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I'm old, man. So
Yeah.
I saw it all, did it all. Time to come to the real world and make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And you were
Marine Corps,
Marine Corps.
Infantry, 0351. So I was like an assaultman. Shot rockets demo, did Iraq twice, got blown up a bunch of times, you know, did that whole dance, and then got right into executive protection. So bodyguard stuff.
Nice. I love how you casually just, I got blown up a bunch of times.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, so you still have your limbs and you got blown up a bunch of times?
Man, no.
I got blown up.
I mean, I got rocked. I got freaking rocked.
Really?
I got all my, but like nothing compared to some of the boys. You know, I got my digits, caught some TBIs, had an out-of-body experience, thought I was dead for a few seconds.
What's a TBI?
Traumatic brain injury.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, had that, you know, that was probably the worst of it other than all the other stuff that comes with going to war. But nothing like ultra cool, you know, like Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Delta dudes, you
snipers and all that shit.
Yeah, all that stuff. No, I was infantry. You know, they trained us.
You can run, but you can't hide. You'll die trying.
Yeah, you'll die tired, right?
I'll hit you from 800 meters away.
Die tired, bro. Yeah, man,
throw the grass up, adjust the windage, boom. Gone.
And Sean looks like you would have served in the military, but I don't believe you did, right? But
no, I just served a lot on the streets.
He was a street soldier.
A street soldier.
Dude, they're
literally.
nice.
Urban
like that.
soldier. He's an urban soldier.
Where'd you grow up?
In California, in the Valley, actually. Little bougie-ass, rich neighborhoods.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Calabasas High School.
Wow.
I was probably one of the few that did not fit or belong in that town. Drugs, you know, family abuse, drug addiction, drug dealing.
Oh, I don't know if I ever knew any of that history of you.
I saw him. I was like, this is the guy that could get me whatever I need while I'm here.
Yeah. Fights, secret fights, underground fights, and then just kind of made my way through life, and then somehow, you know, got arrested once or twice, but then I beat the system most of the time.
What made things turn around for you?
I attempted suicide like a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
This is why
and
I
I'm
don't
prideful of it too, because like I believe that completely helped me just dictate the trajectory of my life. Because originally, like, I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm great at debating. I like to argue.
Yep.
You know, and I just I loved law, and I was going to become. I was either going to go into criminal law or I was going to go into entertainment law. And then as I'm going through all these problems and mental health issues, I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't have fucking patience to sit in school for 6 years. I just don't have it.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole, the addiction behaviors.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit behind a desk and let a teacher tell me what to do, when to do it, and how to get better and smarter. So I just decided, you know what, let me just get myself better, get healthier, mentally healthier, and then, from there, the rest of my life just kind of took off.
How old were you at that point when you?
I was doing drugs from 12 to 20, and then right before my 21st birthday, I was like, if I don't at least give myself a chance at life, like, I'm going to end up in prison, I'm going to end up dead, or just some fucking low-life loser. And I was like, you know what? Let me give myself the chance that no one else gave me. Where everyone gave up on me, parents weren't there for me, no one gave me any kind of guidance or leadership. Let me give that to myself. I owe that myself at least that much. And if I don't make it, I'll take my life. And I kind of made it. They say, don't make a deal with the devil. Well, I made a deal with the devil. I made a pact with myself, and I told myself, if I relapse, I'll pull the trigger in my mouth. Yeah. And that actually I let that sit here every single day while I was fighting through the withdrawals and fighting through just that life of getting away from all the people I didn't belong being around. And there were times where I wanted to go back to the old habits, and then I was like, you swore yourself you're going to take your life. So be ready to fucking pick up the gun and pull the trigger. And that prevented me from ever going back.
Wow.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, I don't know. For me, that's just inspirational. It's kind of like the burden of intelligence I think you had to deal with while you're going to school and dealing with all the kind of the normal people and the status quo. And I had to deal with a lot of that too, where I was just like, I swear, I'm not ever going to use this stuff they're teaching me in school ever.
No, right.
Again, my father's a real successful entrepreneur, and so I was just sitting there, and then I learned how to work the system, and I didn't have to lift a finger and got all my grades, and then I was kind of like, well, this is a waste of my time. And then, thank God, I went to the Marine Corps, because I was an intense, hardcore dude too. And then
I get it.
Yeah, I went into the drugs when I got out of the Marine Corps, and I was intense. Thank God I didn't die. I was making six figures at 21, traveling the world, just, going as fast as I could. My PTSD was just being addicted to dopamine and just knowing that I don't need to sleep. Sleep's for mortals, and I can just hammer and be good. And
you sound like I do, because I preach every day. I only sleep 4 hours a night right now.
Follow him on Instagram. It's 4 a.m. 4 a.m. club.
4 a.m. guy over
That's
here?
me. I'm 4 a.m. I go to bed at 10, wake up at 2, 4 a.m. club. I preach that all day long. And if it was up to me, I would not sleep. And when next year rolls around, I've told many people this, that I'm going to attempt something crazy that I watched my father do.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 72 hours straight, then take a day off to sleep, 72 hours stay, take a day off to sleep, and I'm going to repeat that process, see if I can survive it or not. Because that's kind of helped me with a lot of the things that have happened for me over the last 2-3 years is because I took on the schedule, and I'm like, I'm just going to go 10 to 2 to sleep and go savage mode with my life.
I love this.
And then as things progressed, I was like, man, if I could just go without sleeping, I wonder how much more I could do. Because right now my process is, and teaching people is, get 3 days done within a single day. So you create 3 mini days. So if I'm up at 2, by the time you wake up at 7 or 8, I've already completed your full day in a mini day. And then if I do that 3 of those, so I've done 21 days in a week.
Yeah.
So how much can I do if I go no sleep? So let me go 72 hours, take a day off, and sleep.
Yeah.
Let me see what that can do for me. So I'm going to try that for 30 to 60 days. If it just absolutely kills me, then I'll just stick to this schedule. But I'm going to give it a shot because I watched my dad do it. And my dad made nearly $1 million a year, which to me now is not a lot. That's my goal now a month. But watching him do it back then, you go back 25, 30 years ago, that's a pretty penny.
Great guap.
Yeah.
Right? And I watched him do it, and he just did that for 10 years straight, and now he just kicks back, 80 years old, does whatever the fuck he wants, doesn't care about anybody or anyone's feelings, doesn't care about family that screwed him over. He's like, I just live on my terms.
About his freedom.
And I'm above the law. That's how his mind is.
I love it, man. Now I'm the same way in some ways. I go to bed at 11. I wake up at 4. It hurts every single time.
With an alarm or no alarm?
With an alarm.
You really?
I actually set 2 alarms, but I also have a shot glass of all my supplements next to the bed. So when that bad boy goes off, turn over, slam that bad boy, and I'm up, and it's game on. I got the music and everything I play to get in the zone, and then it's to the gym, and I have my own whole regimen. But that's the whole game, man.
I'm the opposite. I'm the vampire.
I love
right?
that.
You see, I'm at 6 in the morning. I'm grinding away, so I'm up working when they're sleeping, and then they flip it out, right? So on the weekends, I'll go till 6 in the morning.
Wow.
but then I'm playing poker at night, cash games. But then I'm working during the day. Then I get home. Then I got 4 hours of sleep, right? But then I took a nap. Tried to take a nap today. But Sean's schedule's perfect. These guys got a great schedule. I have one that works for me, but I'm actually not sleeping 8 anymore. I'm down to 6.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'm up late. I don't know what it is in me.
Yeah.
But you could put me to bed 12 hours. I still can't. 7 o'clock. It's like, no, 8. Okay, maybe I'll get up. So what I'll do is I'll go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Or 3:30, and on the weekend 6 o'clock in the morning. And so you guys are getting up, and I'm still there, and I'm starting to go down. You're coming. It's like we could do swing shifts, right?
Yeah.
Like you got my back, you know what? Take the ride.
Hey, let's go to war now.
Exactly. Yeah, and everyone's ready. How many hours?
I'm
are
the
you
night
actually
stalker,
down?
right? That's
Yeah.
what we did.
Yeah.
I'd say 6 now.
Yeah.
You know, Sean does 4, and I'm working on that, but I have a different.
I'm 4 to 6. I'm up at between 5 and 5:30 pretty much every day with no alarm, no matter what time I go to bed. It's weird.
Okay, so
But I'm also old, and so I need to pee, so I get up to pee. And that's
but
kind of cheating, and then I just stay up. If I'm being honest.
hey, you take that CBD, man.
It'll knock you out.
Yeah.
Prostate shrinks. It all goes. Yeah. Well, so tonight it's 4, right?
They don't know what we're talking about yet, but they
you'll
will.
see. Gotta pee again.
I told him his eyes were going to go when he's hit 40, and he got mad at me at the UFC fight a couple weeks ago.
My father's 80 and he's still trucking like a buffalo, dude. Like,
Really?
But has he got reading glasses?
Yeah.
That's reading glasses. We're
No,
talking
no, 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 no. I'm the
He's
only.
like nothing you say matters.
I'm actually the
Like the
only. I'm
mortals.
actually the only person
Yeah.
on both sides of the family trees that doesn't have glasses. They all had glasses by the time they were 20.
I didn't have glasses till I was like 40 something.
I literally
You
feel
just
like I
fucked up.
woke up at 40 and like I was blind. Strangest fucking
was
thing.
over.
That's doing this too much.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it's just less oxygen.
But
yeah.
like tonight, it's Friday, right?
Yeah.
I will be up till 6, 7, or 8 o'clock in the morning. Saturday morning.
Playing cards?
You're playing
Playing
poker.
cards?
Yeah, I'll play.
Okay.
I'm making money, but I also,
Which you have been. I've been seeing your posts. You've
Right.
been crushing the cash game.
but I'm also getting
Yeah.
like the NFT connections. The
Yeah.
Crypto Kings were there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wait, what are you doing? Wait, that's
They were
Elon
playing
Musk?
poker?
No, dude.
It's
I met the guy
arbitrage.
at the Bellagio. I told Sean the story. The guy goes, "Oh, you need to do what was it? It's on here. My crypto."
Yeah.
You need to do this. I said, yeah, whatever. He said, no. This is what Mr. Tesla's doing. I go, who? Elon? I said, get out of here. He shows me a text. These are kids. When I say kids, younger 30s, late 20s, right? I'm like, he said, yeah. So you need to invest here. I didn't do it. A week later, boom, it took off. This time I got the call on Shiba Inu,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Coinbase only does $12.50 a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, right? It went up. It's like, okay, I made some money. They're like, that's a long play. So I'm trying to meet with these guys, go around for coffee. The other guy's like, oh, I'm an NFT guy. And they're all talking NFTs,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And some people don't know it's basically a one-off digital asset, right?
Yep.
Or character. And so I'm getting into this, learning about it. And these kids are all rolling around, not working, playing poker, jet setting in private jets. I'm like, what do you got?
Man.
Crypto.
The game's changing.
And I'm not
big
saying that's
time.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the long play is index funds, NASDAQ. That's good too. But I think you got to diversify.
Yeah.
33% here, 33% here, 33% real estate or whatever business.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I'm trying to learn and I'm listening to every guy. They're all business minded. And I said, we all need to get together, sit down, grab coffee and talk business. We need to figure out this crypto thing because you all are playing in it, but you're not writing that. You're not signing the checks on the front. You're signing them on the back. How do we get to sign the checks on the front and own this shit? Because these guys, I got their IGs. They're on jets. I'm like, what jet is that? How old are you?
Yeah.
What do you do? Nothing.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just kind of when I'm playing. I'm also
You're working.
I'm looking at their APs or Richard Millie's,
You're
their
networking.
Paddocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, how'd you get that? It's a Richard Millie. Oh yeah, I got a couple of them. So those $300,000 watches.
Some are more.
What's on the valet?
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I saw one that was 1.2 the other day.
How do you do
Crazy.
that? Anyways,
That's too much for a watch. Would you ever spend that much on a watch?
Yes.
I
Yeah?
wouldn't.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Why?
it's-
Status or
No, I don't care about
reason.
status, to be honest with you, because like those higher.
says the man in the Bentley? Yeah.
I'm here to learn.
I don't have
I'm here
the
to learn
Bentley
at
for
this point.
I don't have the Bentley for status. I drive the Bentley because I work my ass off, and the only time I can actually enjoy the money that I make
Is in the car.
Is in the car because
Wow.
I only
get
sleep
it.
4 hours a night, so I'm barely
get
ever
it.
home.
Right.
So what the
This is
fuck is the
true.
point of owning a nice house if I'm never going to be in it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The one thing that I can enjoy is a ride.
Is the
I don't
ride.
care what anybody
I'm
thinks.
with you.
You know, and a watch, same thing. I can enjoy it
Yeah.
and things. My favorite watches right now, that probably by the end of next year's a goal is to buy a Jacob & Co. It's a $500,000 watch. and there's a uniqueness about them. They're one of a kind. So I want one of those.
Yeah.
It looks nice. It's slick.
Yeah.
It's sexy.
I get it.
And it's not for what anybody else thinks, but I just like the way they look.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're so you look at how they design it too. You can watch a video. They have one how everyone is designed, and it's just nice.
They're all
And
handmade.
I have an
It's,
appreciation for like arts and crafts at a high value because they're one of a kinds.
Yeah.
No one else can have it. So I'm all about that.
But it's relative too, right?
Yeah.
So Warren Buffett doesn't finance a house; he pays cash, right? And the guy said, "Why don't you do that?" He goes, "Well, do you finance a cheeseburger when you go through McDonald's?" That's true. He said it's a real estate guy,
Right.
Yeah.
So for us living here, we go to the Philippines. They're like, "You guys are rich. You got running toilets.
Yeah,
you got
like
2 or 3 TVs,
Right.
2 nice cars.
Astronauts.
You guys got clean water. We're wealthy." And they can't imagine us paying $20,000 or $30,000, $40,000 for a car,
Right.
And
Yeah.
and our cars are way more than that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when he says $1 million or a Richard Millie's 300,000 or whatever,
Yeah.
well, how much are you making, right? You're making $100 million a year, and you buy a $280,000 watch, like
Right,
whatever,
It's all relative. Yeah.
right?
I hope everyone listening is taking notes, man, because these are the cheat codes. You know, like God's currency, time. Like everyone gets their time, and what you make out of it is just.
I mean,
everyone's got 24 hours.
You
dude.
actually you just said it, the cheat codes. So
Yeah, bro.
like well said, because I was talking
Yeah,
to somebody
man.
about this is, you go back in time when everybody was kids, most boys, dudes, played video games, and at some point the cheat codes came out.
Yep.
Skip a level, get to the end of the
Right.
game,
Yeah.
get a machine gun at the beginning of the game, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, like the same thing goes with mentorship and advice, and people that have done it and been there is we're giving and also receiving from people above us the
you're
cheat
smart.
codes of life.
And you're giving it, but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't listen.
Yeah,
they don't
man.
fucking listen.
Well,
Yeah. Or they just assume, well, I
No.
couldn't.
He's got a roadmap. He's got a roadmap. He's
Yeah.
got evidence. He has. I'm sorry. I gotta say
Evidence-based.
this. He has a gal. He took from $3,000 to $15K a month.
That's life-changing.
And with all due respect, she's a trainer. Great.
Yeah.
She's okay. She's young.
Yeah.
And people see that, but they won't go to him that are
Right.
trainers and say because they got ego and pride.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like, not to be religious at all, right? But when you hear Jesus say, "Let him who has ears to hear, let him hear," like that's what we're talking about, you know. So, like with my psychology background, I got into psychology because I had so many friends that didn't get this stuff. So we got out of the Marine Corps, and I'm watching dudes like tap out. I'm getting phone calls, and dudes are committing suicide. I got more dudes that died after, and I'm
Right,
sure you
yeah.
know,
It happened to me too.
Yeah.
and then that actually died at
Yeah,
war.
the PTSD is nasty.
Dude, so I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, like time is everything. We got to hustle. We got to make something of ourselves. We need to get smarter. We need to get better. And my dudes just didn't get it, you know, and so I tried to understand how to help humans want to help themselves. You know, there's no explaining man's indifference towards himself. You know, I think it was like Napoleon Hill or Ralph Waldo Emerson said that, but that was like one of the big pains in my life when I got out. So I just started hammering on my stuff. And so like, these conversations are how people level up if they're at the place to listen and they have the wisdom.
Well, they have to be ready.
that the place, yeah, man.
It's basically like Redcon. You have be in a state of readiness, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's your
all the
language.
time.
Redcon,
100%.
What do you mean? It's a state of readiness.
100%.
So if you're not in a state of readiness to level up and actually want something more and better
Yeah.
out of life, then I can sit here and I can hand you.
yeah, exactly.
And you're just going to be
Exactly.
like.
Oh, anyways, and you'll go back to playing Angry Birds on your
Well, 'cause,
phone.
like, you know what's funny? It's just said
scrolling
that.
through Facebook.
That was fun for a minute, right?
Yeah, I definitely did a tour
this
of
much.
Angry Birds duty. Shit.
As he said that, like I've had clients that will hire me for business coaching. I'll lead them into making more money than they ever thought they could imagine. And then I've had clients that say, I never really got any value. And it's like, well, why do you feel like you didn't get any value? Because I know I didn't give you any bullshit.
Yeah,
right.
And it's like, well, did you execute at the speed of instruction?
Yeah.
No. So where's your
that.
value?
And that's a hard one. The
That's a
speed of
cheat code right
instruction
there.
to
That's the
execute,
cheat code.
yeah.
So like if you're not going to move at the speed that I give you information and advice,
Right.
and you choose to take the information I gave you and apply it a week later, well, guess what?
You're gonna
Now you're
drown.
probably about 5 weeks behind.
You're gonna drown. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm ready to give you the next step, and you're still figuring out the first one that you haven't even operated on yet.
Well, and what? Because I like, what is that? Like, you can tell someone all these different things, but like, it's like they're where they're at in their development, their maturity, their ability to execute, take risk. Like in the beginning, I started to try and have partnerships in business, right? And I
hated that.
I learned that lesson. I was like,
look on his face.
like, I hated it. You know, and I started to learn like everyone's at these different places, and you can tell people things, and they just don't like. I know for me, I got blown up. I got, you know, I died in Iraq, and I was like, look, part of my thing coming back, I was like praying. I was like, Father, if I get a chance to come back here, I swear to God, I'm not going to waste this thing. I'm going hard in the paint every single day.
Can I ask you something? When you said that, were you dead saying that to your conscious? I mean, no,
Yeah.
Like, were you saying that after, like, okay, I'm barely alive were you dead saying that?
So I was in an alternate reality, man.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, I woke up in a room and it was just like black. Like I was just like, and I wasn't scared and I wasn't in pain. I was like, fine. Like I was just chilling. I was like, like kind of like just hanging out. And I was like, man. And I was like, how'd I get here? So then I went through this whole kind of experience of like, I saw my last thoughts that were going through my head. Like, why is the water cooler trying to come on my butt? And then I was like, oh, I was sitting on a water cooler and I was like, oh, and I'm still chill. And then I'm like, oh, I was in Iraq, and I start to recall everything. And then I was like, oh, I was on patrol in Iraq. And then I got hit with the deepest sorrow I've ever experienced in my life. Because my dad, long story, dangled me off a balcony when I was trying to go in the Marine Corps. My dad's a hard dude. Got shot at point blank range with a shotgun, survived, came back. Like, he's a hard dude, right? He's a man's man. I went into the Marine Corps, went to war just to be like, this is the one masculine thing that he can't take, that he can't say ain't, you know what I mean, ain't nothing. So anyways, so I promised him I wouldn't die, you know. And so I was like, dang, I failed. You know, I died, you know, and I'm a pile of guts. And I started to feel really, the deepest sorrow I've ever felt. And then, you know, like I started to see my family members. And I remember what was really killing me was being like, yo, I'm 19 and I never lived. Like, I was here. Like, I went and chased some chicks and did some stuff. I was like kind of a cool dude, you know what I mean? Like, but I never was conscious through this whole dang experience, and it's over now. And that's what really killed me. And I remember praying, and I was just like, Father, if you can send me back, if I get back, I swear to God, I am gonna go ham. And since then, you know, and then the story gets into like some touched by an angel stuff. I start seeing my grandma. She tells me to start praying, and you know, I actually cry out to Jesus, and that's how I got back, and I got power over my body again. And then I actually banged my way out the back of the freaking truck. I was like, I'm not gonna freaking die here. And I blacked out, woke up 30 yards away because apparently I jumped out, sprinted away, and things just got nuts. And then I got my squad out and we started clearing trash. But that event for me was my Phoenix event. That event, I was reborn. Because every day since then, it's war. It's all out war. I wake up early and I'm hitting this thing like it's war. Every minute of every day, I'm like,
you and I are like in sync, like hot, heavy right now. Like I'm with you 100. Like everything you said, your Phoenix moment, your Phoenix moment.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting time. I'm not fucking around. No one's getting in my way. You get in my way. Either jump on the train with me, or I'm gonna bull right
keep
through
moving.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. Like I'm syncing with you hardcore right now because it's giving me goosebumps. Because
same here.
Because that's my story as far as how it happened and what took place mentally and emotionally.
It really did give you goosebumps. I see it.
No, it did.
Man. No,
because I connected with it. Because like, his is from the military, mine's from drugs and suicidal attempts, but it's the same exact thing. Like I had that awakening moment. The spirit spoke to me, and that's when I was like, I got to give myself a chance. And then I never looked back after that. And the last 3 years is when I really went balls to the wall.
So I'm going to ask you a different type of question. So do you feel you were touched by an angel and you're a messenger from God in some way? Like to come to impact people's lives? Do you feel that? And is that a weird, strange question? But I feel like I'm getting that energy from you.
Yeah, man. So I lament at the tragedy of living life unconsciously. And this thing is a really crazy miracle. You know, we're hurtling through space at like some 60,000 miles an hour. You know, we got 70 some trillion cells working synergistically for us to be able to use this consciousness. If you ever see the math equation of consciousness worked out on it's insane.
It blow your mind. You can't even read it.
Right? All the different ecosystems that make it so we can like breathe and walk around. Not to mention the technology. Like this stuff is freaky if you actually think about it literally, right? So for me, the tragedy of a human just being in this miracle, all these trillions of miracles working, the lottery of being born, and just freaking complaining about their dang frappuccino, it drives me nuts. And so I know that feeling, and I know when I die, when it's my turn again, I have to be like, you know what? I went hard in the paint. And so a lot of my content is around helping people start to realize, like, yo, that's what this is. Like, this is crazy miracle time. This is our go at Godship over our lives. You want to do something? Nothing's going to stop you.
Right.
You've been given this, and it's all up to you, and it's all your fault, and everyone's self-made, but only the successful want to admit it. So to answer your question, yes, like that leveling up of consciousness that did come from kind of a supernatural near-death experience makes me live my life with that. I think about death all the time. I live to death.
Right.
And then also I want to give people that experience that I got from like the hill, like from the fire, to be able to be like, hey, look, wake the frick up, man.
Right, because people are walking around dead.
Zombies,
I got
dude.
a question.
Straight zombies.
I got a question. So are you afraid to die?
No, man. If I like the whole game is like especially at work, you know, when I'm protecting people, I got to be ready to give my life in a second. I live every minute of my life so that if I get in a car accident on the way home, I can be proud of because none of these moments we have are certain. Like at any minute, it can go down. And I live my life every single minute to where if I die, it's like, nah, dude, that dude may
gave it all.
You know what's interesting about that?
Hard as he could every minute he had.
I think about that. I'm not afraid to die, but I'm afraid that I didn't set my family up right before I die.
That's a
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
No,
for
but
sure.
that's a perfect driving.
Because they're not. I'm not. Right?
I went and got a big life insurance policy last year for that exact reason. Literally.
Did your girlfriend sign it?
Yeah.
I was like, "You got a life insurance policy?" I'm like, "Hey, you're Mexican. Wait, what are you asking me?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but
Now I'm working my ass off not to be worth
and
more
she's-
dead than
and
alive.
here's
'cause that's
the-
not good, right?
Yeah.
And she's related to the Guzman family, right? El Chapo. So it's like, wait a minute, what are you asking me this for?
No, someone asked me that once. That's why, because as you're talking about it, someone asked me once, and I was like, "No, I've already tried to take my life. So
Yeah.
there's nothing about death
Yeah.
that scares me."
Right.
But the day that I'm on my deathbed for whatever reason, whether it's tomorrow or in 50 years from now, I want to be able to know that I'm dying, that I gave everything I had every
100%.
single day, maximize my time,
Nice.
my efforts,
Yep.
and the amount of lives I impacted at the same time. That's very crucial and critical for me because I fucked up a lot of lives being a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So I want to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, so that's kind of like where my brain has been at.
It's like an alchemical kind of process. It's like an alchemical like thought process. I draw so much power from the realization that this is finite. Like I'm moving towards death every single moment. We're dying together in this room right now. We can't get these minutes back. You know.
Oh, yeah.
People are listening to us. They're dying at the same time. You know. So I'm gonna try and make it worth it.
Well,
give them as much value as we can.
And when you, and what's scary is when you get on a calculator and you say, okay, what's the average?
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. I've done this. This was years ago. It's like, I only got 14,000 days left to live.
Yeah.
And now it's probably 9, right? 9,000. You're like,
right.
shit, that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, wake up, you're 50. It's like, okay, am I going to go to, how much time we got left?
Do you think about that more because you're dating someone younger? Like we both have that in common.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
I
we should
think
be in
about it.
prison
Like
right now, like, literally.
You know, I'm 51. My girlfriend's 30, just turned 30, and
your
like I
girlfriend's
think
how old?
about all the time.
How old is your girlfriend?
She's 29 and I'm 52.
29, 30, 51, 52.
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
Yeah. So, but
How you doing?
But yeah, right. But
crazy.
do you find yourself thinking like that? Like fuck. Like when I'm 80, you start doing that math, and it's like fuck, man.
yeah, it's like,
really
don't take the tennis balls off my walker, please. Can you change my pee bag? It's a hired nurse. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's like, wow, you know, I'm you know.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it, 90? Is
Yeah.
it 80? So we got 30, 40 years left?
Yeah.
Maybe 50 if we stretch it, but then it's like, do you want to go that long, right? And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, how are you going to...
Quality of life.
It's quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And it's you know, but that's an amazing story. I mean, I'm inspired. I know he is. You guys have a lot in common.
Yeah.
From both sides. It's like you're over here, he's over here.
Our mental operation is the same.
But it's you meet in
Paradigm
the
is
middle.
like,
So now
I knew this was gonna make sense.
Right.
This-
Okay,
this-
so
but I want to know
just-
John's
hey, hold
story
on,
now.
Oh man.
Wait,
Well,
real quick before
yeah.
you go, how old do you, I want everyone to answer this. How old do you want to live till? If you could dictate and control, what age would you want to go to?
I said 100.
I always say I want to break records. I'm going deep. I'm going 100 plus.
Okay, so 100.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I would say it has so much to do with my mission, you know. But I also know that life is so awesome that no matter what mountaintop you make it to, there's gonna be another mountain,
Right.
You know,
There's-
right
there's-
there.
That was a Glenn Ross moment.
Well, 'cause, like,
I
so-
was sent
so-
here on a mission from God.
That's how it feels.
You and I are now are now. No, you just turned 36. We're the same age, so
Yeah, that's
we
wild.
we know that in the next 50, 60, 70, 80 years, there's going to be a massive evolution of what, like, we could be in those like futuristic movies that we see where cars are floating and shit.
Hey, I want to be the George Jetson.
You know, so again, back to you now.
Yeah.
What age, if you could control what age you'd live till, what would it be?
Man,
Realistically, I mean, don't be like 200.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I feel like, I'd say maybe 120. Isn't that's kind of
That's crazy, bro, because that's actually mine too. And I'll tell you why, no bullshit.
Yeah.
So like, I had this conversation with my dad once. Actually, he brought up to me. He's like,
Yeah.
how old do you want to live till? And this was probably like 7-8 years ago. We had this conversation. I'm like,
Yeah.
at least 110. He's like, why 110? And I'm like, number one, I want to hit triple digits. Number two, at that time, so another 75, 80 years from now, our world is going to be completely different, and I want to see what our world is going to be like. And I want to know how many people's lives I've been able to change at that point. He's like, and then he looks at me and he's like, listen. And this, so he's 82 now, so I think he was like 70 when we had this conversation. He's like, listen. He's like, I plan to be 110. So you better fucking hit 120.
Yes.
I love it. That's awesome.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, if you're going to 110, then I have to beat you. And he was healthier than his father, who went to 90 something, 95, 96.
Yeah.
So I know my dad will beat
Outstanding.
that, because my dad is like I said, he's healthy as an ox, works out. He'll go mountain climbing for like forever. He'll go bike riding 50 miles at a time.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just an animal.
Now, were you close when you were young?
No, he used to beat the shit out of me, dude. Like my dad.
So what changed everything?
My father, bro, I'm 6 years old, sitting on the toilet taking a shit, and my dad cracks me in the face just because. Lays me out.
Oh, we got
get hard. Be
alcoholic?
harder.
No, he's just extremely violent. Like,
You know what's
very violent
interesting?
man.
Our fathers all have.
My pops is hardcore like that.
My
too.
dad ran the whole West Coast with drugs and women. He was
Yeah.
like the original
Oh,
gangster.
that's right.
Really?
He was a pimp and a hustler and everything. Yeah, I went to prison a couple times. Died when I was like 2.
Wow.
Your
Heroin.
dad died when you were 2?
Heroin. Yeah. My mom didn't know what he did. He owned all these businesses, but she didn't know he was running heroin out of Texas, and she didn't know he was running women. So he had Sacramento all the way up to Seattle and Eastern Washington. He had these prostitute houses and women on the track and businesses. And yeah, he found my mom in the newspaper. At a Seattle parade, and you know what? Back in those days, you call the operator and say, "Can you give me the number to this address?"
Sure.
Sir, here's the number, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And so he kept calling, and my grandmother kept hanging up on him. He finally got to my mom, and he started dating her. And my mom liked black men, so it worked out great. But she didn't know what he was doing. So he was, and we all have these dark pasts,
Well, it's that archetype. Like, I wonder. I mean, I heard it said that your father has a lot to do with your identity as a man. Now, my dad didn't per se raise me. I'm from the Bahamas, so I was born in the Bahamas. I grew up in Washington State. Spent time with my dad during the summers, and then I was with my mom in the winters. And my dad was always hard. I'd show up and he'd like beat me up. Big martial artist, started the first task force like SWAT team in the Bahamas. Got shot at point blank range, survived. Like to this day, when I call my pop, like I still might have to shoot my dad. Like I probably could not beat him up. You know what I mean? Like to this day, I'm still like when I call him on the holidays, I'm like,
so knowing
I love him. He's awesome. We're close.
Because the final time
He
my
was
dad put his hands on me was
Yeah.
I went out all out with him, and I put him down, flipped a glass table over and broke it, and I threatened him like,
Yeah.
fucking touch me again, you are
This
a
is
fucking
over.
dead man.
How old were you then?
15 or 16.
But he was probably a man child at 15. Look how
course.
big this
Look at him.
motherfucker. He's a fucking monster.
You've been lifting like your whole life, right?
I've never lifted a day in my life, please.
Okay, don't get
But
crazy.
here's the scariest part, and I don't know about them, but I'm going to assume this. I feel my dad's dark energy. It's so easy for
It's
me to
there.
slip.
Yeah.
Because me and my half brothers talk about it. My dad. Papa was a Rolling Stone. I have kids all over the U.S. that I'm finding out about half brothers.
Yeah.
But we all have
Same
that,
here.
We all
My
have
dad
that-
was a pimp too, so in Buffalo, New York, man. It's
we
a
all
thing.
have that.
Yeah.
We all go there. And I'm like, dude, don't be like your dad. Now, here's the question. I'm from Washington State. Where'd you go to high school?
Gig Harbor, Washington.
Oh, you're from Gig Harbor. Okay,
Yeah.
so the Navy area.
Yep.
Okay,
almost.
okay. He's an island boy all around, man. It's just like,
Yeah, man. But it's interesting because, same thing with my dad. I'm asking him questions. He's explaining things to me, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm not going to be like my dad. But then you grow up, and we're talking, and I'm listening to him talk, and my wife's sitting there, and she's looking at me like, this is you talking. I'm like, it's him talking. It's me. And the dude didn't raise me. It's
The
crazy.
thing is, like, as
There's a
much-
genetic
Apple don't fall
memory or
far.
something
as
in there.
much
yeah.
as, and I openly say this, and I love my dad as much
love
as
my dad,
as much
too.
as
He's
a
awesome.
piece of shit father my dad was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I adopted and took on all the qualities of a man that I did. Like my dad was a bad father, but as a man, solid dude, old school, like Italian type and Middle Eastern mafioso personalities, order, loyalty, family, traditional values. Like my dad was hardcore when it came to this, and I was like, I like that. Like that's exactly what I want.
Same here,
and that's
dude.
what I expect. And that's kind of how I've lived my life. That's how I expect from people that I allow into my circle and in my inner circle. And I took on the good qualities of my father, the work ethic, and the shitty qualities. I can definitely say I have some of them by default because of what he did. But I have him under control, and if I want to let him loose, I can let him loose when I want to.
Yeah, and that's power under control. That's healthy masculinity in a nutshell, I think.
Oh, you mean it's not toxic masculinity? Piece of shit that says that.
Even get me. Yeah, no, that's a whole. We'll be in here for hours.
There's no such thing. Let's just get that out. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity.
We got to talk about John. I don't know any of your stories.
It's your turn.
Oh man, I thought I could get away with it. I was just being
the poker player, pimp,
the orchestrator here. I thought I could escape it.
What I mean, we know your father.
Well, I grew up differently, obviously, because of
Playboy,
dad.
philanthropist. I'm just
So, I grew up with a silver spoon, pretty much. I grew up in a 10,000 square foot house. Dad was fucking famous, and so.
But you're like that movie.
I came out normal.
You're like almost famous.
I'm almost famous. I'm famous on the coattails.
Everybody knows you.
The coattails.
This guy ends up. He's like, hey, there he is with Trump. There he is with this guy. It's like, how do you know that guy? Oh, I know Dana White. I know this guy.
Yeah.
So what's your background like? Talk about yourself.
Man, you're killing me.
You're on the spotlight.
Shit. Yeah. Right. We should have planned what we were going to talk about. Then this wouldn't be happening to me right now.
Now you're on the spot.
I think you're onto something with this planning shit. Grew up kind of privileged in Brentwood and L.A. and
Stop right there for a second.
Yeah.
Isn't that where OJ was at?
Right?
Wait, no.
Oh.
But I want to credit you for something that you just said I was privileged. At least there's something like, how hard it is for some people to actually admit that I was privileged. I grew up in a nice life.
Yeah.
Like most people will use that and complain or say some bullshit or pretend like they weren't.
Yeah.
But you actually.
I can respect.
I know to some people that what I'm saying sounds stupid.
No,
but I want to acknowledge you and commend you for that because not many people can openly say like I was privileged. I grew up in a great home. This is my house, my lifestyle. I was almost famous. My father's famous. Yeah. Not many people will openly admit that. Yeah. Like it's some kind of fucking dark cloud.
Like they're scared to.
Like dude,
just be who you are.
I just want to commend you for that.
Thank you, man.
For actually openly saying that.
Or I don't understand. A lot of them will blame their life on it. Like because a lot of kids. I grew up a good kid.
Then you're just an ungrateful piece of shit.
Yeah. They'll go down drug highway or whatever, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's because my parents, but
my parents don't love me." And
I don't get it. Like my dad was really busy. He was shooting a TV show and a recording career and traveling and touring and but somehow I didn't grow up feeling like he wasn't in my life. Like I feel like every Little League game he was there somehow. Now looking back, like when I was little, I didn't know any better. But now when I think like, how the fuck were you doing 12 hours a day at CBS, going to Vegas performing on the weekends, and how are you making Little League games on random Wednesday evenings? Like I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. But
Super Dad.
Because we do what we want to do, man. We
Hashtag Super Dad. Dude, right
we
there.
make it happen. If we want it, it happens.
Yeah. But, and this isn't me complaining, because of the way I grew up, I didn't have any work ethic until I hit 30.
That is a big quality problem.
And you're still, I wanted to be a baseball player.
You're openly admitting that too.
Yeah, for sure. Like I absolutely wanted to be a baseball player growing up. And I was good in Little League, and then I wasn't as good in high school because as you get older, like the kids get better and they're working hard, and I didn't. I lived off of, I was real good in Little League, oh, there's levels to this shit, and so I just didn't work hard enough to get there, and it wasn't until really, and then stand-up, I did 10 years of stand-up, but that was kind of handed to me, right? Because I obviously started opening for my dad, so I did comedy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did 10 years of stand-up comedy, so I started opening for my dad in Branson, Missouri in 93.
You're
like, I know, right now you're like, but you're not even funny, dude.
No, you are. No. He's very charismatic.
He actually has a voice and the attitude for it, too.
He's like, hey, how you doing? Welcome to WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm John.
And I used to open, I started opening for my dad, but then like a lot of his friends in the business started using me, like Tom Jones, Paul Anka, Dionne Warwick, the Four Tops, the Temptations. I mean, you could pretty much name anybody from that those those categories.
Yeah.
And I opened for him in Vegas, Atlantic City, all over the country, all over the world for 10 years. But even that was kind of like handed to me, the opportunity. Obviously, you still have to be good to get, you're not going to open for Tom Jones and all these people,
and suck
5,000 people in New York or, MGM Grand here in Vegas or whatever.
Don't mess it up. Yeah, don't suck. Hashtag don't
I always say it took everyone 10 years to figure out I wasn't funny, but it was a good run while it lasted,
That's great.
And so, but even then, what does that really mean? You're working 20 minutes a night, making $2,500 to, on the low end, $1,500, on the high end, $7,500 to tell fucking jokes for 15 to 20 minutes. You can't respect the money. So I used to say, like, I was kind of like a stripper that couldn't get off the pole, like, but the pole was this mic,
Right.
And if you make,
that is good.
Yeah,
it's such a good analogy.
it's like if you make $5,000 in a weekend, working a total of an hour telling jokes, and you don't have to get to work till 8 at night, and you're done with work by 8:20.
You're jerking off the whole day.
And there's a lot of hours in the day to fuck up.
Just mess it up.
Yeah, and so
Did you invest your money or
No,
that's what he's getting
dude,
at right now.
You can't respect. You can't respect the money.
He's like, I don't respect the money. I fucked up a lot.
Yeah, you can't respect the money.
how many strippers did you put through college?
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. But gambling was absolutely my vice,
Really?
And I blew through a lot of fucking money over 10, really a whole lifetime.
Did you have to like hit a rock bottom?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Were you a
yeah, and
gambleholic?
I've never said
Life
this.
will
I've
get
Were you
you.
a gambleholic?
Yeah, for sure, bad. I mean,
can see that.
At one point,
Did you go to Sharks for money?
At one point, I got into the mob for some money in Atlantic City. and,
Threats of getting your arm broken if you didn't pay
I
up.
had a guy put a gun to my head in my dressing room in Atlantic
see
City.
that.
I had a high-speed
Yeah.
chase in L.A. And I mean, this is stuff only you got this out of me today because I don't know. I've never
Well,
talked
here's the
about
thing,
this
'cause
really
as you're talking
publicly.
about this is because
Wow.
so like very quick short stories, like, because like I work in I'm a recovery coach, and it's from any life of mental health, addiction, alcoholic, gambleholics.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I already know some of those stories of
Yeah.
people I've worked with where like they've been so deep that
Yeah.
there are sharks knocking on their door and they're like, we're taking your arms off if you don't pay up within the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
For example. So I already
had
know
some
where your
scary
story is.
moments.
where
I
this
mean,
is going,
I had a
yeah.
guy. This is back when answering machines existed. You remember answering
Yeah.
machines? Hey, okay.
It was almost worse.
You hear it click on and you're like-
it was worse listening to the answering machine than the actual phone call. 'Cause it's
Dude.
like, you're gonna die tomorrow if you don't pay up. Versus, hey,
Hey, bro.
can you just
Yeah.
meet us next week to
Yeah.
pay up, or I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. Literally, it was like
and you're like hiding in your room, and the answering
Yeah.
machine's over there, and you're listening to it. Yeah,
and
it's
things
medicine.
had gotten so
Yeah,
bad, I
man.
had to move back when I was 30 years old. I had to move back in with my mommy.
Yep.
Because I had fucked my life up so bad, and
The
I would
weight.
I'd come home to these messages on my machine, and it's like, "Hey, buddy, it's Joey. Give me a call," And then it was like, "You want me to? Hey, don't make me send Vinny out there." Literally, the guy's name was Vinny. Don't make me send Vinny out there. 23516 Dolorosa Street, Woodland Hills, 91367. Isn't that where you live with your mother? If he shows up there and he's not invited, you got fucking problems. Call me. That's literally. I'd have messages like that.
Like it's like tattooed on your brain.
Yeah, I even did an
I
event.
mean, you just reiterated the whole
like you got the whole,
Yeah.
Down.
Oh yeah,
That was so the whole
Yeah.
frequency of that
I'll
was
tell
so
you.
real.
Yeah, I'll even tell you. So
movie,
I fucked up over 10 years, and 2000 to 2001 was the best year of my life and the worst year of my life,
Okay.
all in the same year, if that's even possible.
Nice.
And I blew through about $500,000 liquid cash in that year.
Yeah, just like
Just fucking
gambling?
around.
Stuff.
Not all of it gambling, but just like taking
bullshit around.
8 random people to dinner, or
Yeah, being the
I ate
man.
out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, now that's not changed, but I ate out breakfast,
diet.
lunch. Yeah,
Cholesterol level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
ate out like three meals a day. Nice places. Had a lot of like straggler. My 30th birthday was here in Vegas at the Riviera Hotel, which is now gone. But it was an iconic hotel where like Sinatra worked, Sammy Davis, my dad worked there. It's the first place I ever did stand up in Vegas. And my 30th birthday was there. I had about 120 people. They flew in from all over the world, or all over the country, I should say. And they gave me the Frank Sinatra suite. It's like a 2-level suite with a balcony, and it was iconic, right?
You were living.
I had this insane fucking party, open bar. This is before like rehab at Hard Rock ever existed. Remember that party they used to do? This is before that even existed. I always say I invented rehab because I did it on a Sunday.
Right.
And I had this big like party.
Sunday fun day.
It was like 120 people, friends and family. It was amazing. That's when I turned 30. When I turned 31, my party was here in Vegas. It was 12 people. It was me, Gio, who you met when you came in.
Yeah.
And you guys know Gio. And 10 random people that I'd met that year was at my party. And
So
I
this is after
remember
the fall.
Yeah, this was So
You're
I'm born
leper.
September 8th. So think about this. I'm born September 8th. So I turned 31 in 2001. 3 days later was September 11th.
Boom.
Oh shit!
So I remember along the way. So I never drank, never did drugs growing up. Nothing. I just if I had a sip of alcohol, I just hated the taste. It wasn't a moral thing or anything. I just hated the taste. I'm like, fuck pussy, whatever. Okay. Yeah, like it's an acquired taste, not for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So and I never smoked pot, never tried coke, nothing.
Really?
I tried ecstasy.
Oh boy.
The month after,
here we go.
The month after I turned 30.
Yeah.
And fucking loved it.
Yeah, like lost
You're
your
laughing. I'm
whole-
assuming you've partaked.
Well, yeah,
of course.
sex on ecstasy, and you're like, "This is the greatest sex I've had in my entire life."
Just socially, just everything was.
Everything's to
I
the
never
roof.
tried it.
Yeah.
Good, dope.
I mean, don't.
I'm getting excited
That's
now.
a whole other chapter of life right there.
Don't, but try it.
No,
But
don't.
Don't try it.
Don't.
But don't. Yeah, don't.
Don't.
But I came to this town every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, dropping pills every time. Then I would leave Monday, and then I would come in on Thursday. And then I got to the point I was just fucking living at Mandalay Bay and Hard Rock back and forth. Basically, I'd fly to LA to see mom, check in, do some laundry, get some clothes, and come back to this town and just party like a fucking rock star for a year.
Yep.
And then along the way,
And doing stand up during that time.
along the way, I forgot I was a comedian, so I didn't work. I just stopped working, and I kind of got burned out. And it's fun to work Vegas.
This is the $500,000 you blew through. Okay, got it.
It's fun to work Vegas, but how many times can you go to Cheyenne, Wyoming to tell jokes, or Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, or Minot, North Dakota? It gets fucking old.
Right,
you know?
right.
I didn't appreciate it. I didn't realize how easy I had it because I also grew up so
Good.
Yeah, you didn't have the struggle.
So I didn't know the struggle. I didn't.
But it was
really,
coming
and I
for
didn't
you. It
Respect
was
the
coming.
dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then life punched me in the fucking
here's the thing.
face.
That's what I
The
call
struggle's always-
That's what I call you got dealt the hand of karmic debt later in life.
Right. Yeah.
And karmic justice came in and was like, all right, John, now's your time. I'm gonna fucking make life eat you alive, spit your fucking bones out until you figure it out.
And you're gonna survive or you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And this is the game we play.
Yeah. and I remember at my 31st birthday dinner with those 12 people that I hardly knew, other than Gio. It was the only one I've known Gio 30 years.
He rolled with you. He's your road dog.
Yeah, he's the ride or die buddy, you know.
That's awesome. You get one. You only get a couple.
Yeah. I have a few actually. I'm lucky. I have a few.
I got a few too. Man.
And I remember I got up and excused myself. So along the way, my dad kept saying like, "You're getting too thin." Like I weigh like 195 right now.
Yeah.
Back then I weighed like when I turned 30, I think I weighed 165. When I turned 31, I weighed 145. I graduated high school at 145. I was like a tall, thin twig.
Wow.
Okay. And I remember along the way, my dad was like, "You're too thin. You're too skinny." And I used to say to him, "You know who tells you you're too skinny? Fat people. That's who tells you you're too skinny." Like I'm fine. You know?
Right.
And so finally, I remember I got up from the dinner table, like as they sang "Happy Birthday," which I always hate. Everybody hates that, right? So I get up and I go to the bathroom and I started to cry because I was like, "Who the fuck are these people?" Like I started just thinking about, how you take inventory, like around birthdays or the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking like, "What the fuck?" Like last year was such a great birthday party, 30 people, 100 something people,
Top of the
family, friends
world.
I've known, some little, and now like what is going on? And now I am thin. Like I was like,
Looking in the mirror, having this
what
moment.
the fuck? Like I was looking in the mirror, like what the fuck is wrong with you? And I pulled my shit together and I went back out there. And then 2 days later, now September 10th, I was opening for my dad here in Vegas, at the Riviera, and showtime is at 7:30. So I go on 7:30, he goes on at 8, right?
Yeah.
And at 7:15, I was up on the fucking rooftop of the Riviera Hotel,
Getting ready.
looking down, tears in my
Ready to jump
eyes.
off.
Here we
and I
go.
was about
Getting ready to
jump
take the
off.
ride.
And the only thing that stopped me from doing it was mom and dad, pretty much. Like and friend, like, you know, the people that I know care. Like,
Wait,
Jesus,
like mom and dad, like in your mind, or
in
they
my
came out-
mind?
Okay,
No, like
got
in
it.
my mind. Like, dude, you're better than this, you know?
Yeah.
But I owed the mob a fuck ton of money, like
There's always that.
$50,000, and like I was out of money, and I was just like, what, you know how like you have that plan for your life, and it doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
And I was like, none of it's panned out, and I'm 30, and I'm a fucking loser. And then like, you know, I've always, I think, placed this harder expectation because like my dad was a fucking killing it.
Yeah.
You know, he was 28. He had a TV show on CBS. You know, like he was killing it. You know, he was killing it when he was 16.
Right.
So I always felt like, man, you're a fucking loser. You know, and I just felt so bad about myself, and I almost jumped. And then I was like, fuck it, you know, I can't do this. So I went back downstairs, fucking did the show, delivered the show.
Good.
And then that was closing night. Went back to LA, and then the next morning was September 11th. And I had a couple friends that were working in the trade center that died, and I was just like, I remember I took a shower, I got out of the shower, and I watched those buildings crumble, and I was just like, man, you gotta get your shit together. Like, you're better than this. Like, you can't do this.
You know,
That's
you
awesome.
said that was the very
That's
next day.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that? Like when you look at it from an outside perspective, and just you telling the story, you're about to take your life. You chose not to. The very next day, your friends lost their life.
Yeah.
This massive, catastrophic national tragedy takes place.
Right.
And it makes you think, like, I almost took my fucking life last night.
Yeah.
And all these people, I'm getting goosebumps. All
Yeah.
these people lost their life
Lost
because it
their
was
lives.
taken from them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I almost took myself. What
Yeah.
a piece of shit could I have been?
Yeah.
Now it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's time.
Yeah.
for
That's his
sure.
Phoenix wait.
That's
Yeah.
his Phoenix
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
That's,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. No, that's real.
I love those stories because those stories, like, you know, it's funny. I made a post yesterday, and it kind of ruffled a few people's feathers. That I was talking about, like, if you're not inspired by success, you're a fucking hater. Like, that was my opening line.
Yeah.
And some people already didn't like it, but it's like behind every success story is some massive
Traumatic.
story. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, so like if I meet someone that's super successful, is their success inspiring? Yes, but what's already inspiring for me is I already know I'm like, there's a story behind you that I'm already inspired by that I haven't even heard yet.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hearing it.
100%. Yeah.
Because that story will probably make a change in someone else's life because they're going to relate to it. They're in that exact same fucking spot right now.
Yeah.
And it can literally help turn their life around 180 in 24 hours.
And that right there, I was talking about that on my social media this morning. I was like, look, and I was like, I've been thinking about, like, why do I do this? You know, like, I'll be in the gym and I'll just be talking, you know, and just talking to the people through my stories. And I'm like, why do I do this? I was like, I do this because, one, I'm working on myself in front of you guys. I'm the man in the arena. You're watching me. You're watching the fruit of my labor, the fruit of these ideas I share with you. But secondly, there is someone out there right now who has all the uncertainty, got all the doubts, and is just working on themselves like I had to for 10 years by myself, no freaking results, no one freaking cares, no one's watching your videos, and you just know, like, I have to find my way. I need to transmute all this chaos and darkness into order and into light and into something, or I got to die trying. And I just want you to know, freaking keep going, become smarter, become faster, become stronger. And it's weird because there's no formula necessarily. There are cheat codes, but your life is your own synergy. It's your godship over your thing. So it's like you literally have to figure it out for yourself. Like, gurus can help you a lot, but it's all on you. And I'm just here to tell you, keep freaking working and be humble enough to learn from the information you're getting, and you're going to get there. And I'm like, that's why I struggle in front of you guys, because there's someone out there that's listening right now that's like sitting in their car, you know, just trying to figure it the frick out. And I just want them to know, like, the answer won't be right in front of you, but you got to keep trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
There's that. And then on the flip side,
Yeah.
there's 10,000 people out there that would want your problems every single day of their life.
That's a whole nother one. Yeah,
So
man. Yeah.
not because I
And that have
I'm not
done
gonna say-
so much
I'm not-
more with
I'm
less.
not going to say I hate. I dislike when I hear there's one person out there that wishes they had your problems. No, there's probably about 10,000 people that wish they had your
Easily.
problems every single day of their life.
If they're in
They
the
would-
U.S., if you live in the U.S., for sure. Around the world, for sure.
Even in the U.S., there's at
Right.
least 10,000 people in the nation that wish they had your everyday problems as for the rest of their life. They would take that, and that to me is where I don't take any part of my life for granted.
Yep.
I'm grateful for everything that's in it. I'm grateful for even all the shitty moments that happen. I'm grateful for all the moments that put me in this violent space in my head.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe in chaos and order.
Yep.
And
Same here. Man.
This
It's
guy's
so
like-
freaking good. It's so good.
And you know, it's just one of those things where, for me, I feel if I don't maximize what this life has gifted me
Presented
with,
you with, yeah.
then I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the people that rely on me now and the people that in the future are going to rely and need me to deliver. And I have to show up every fucking day. I have this attitude where I don't have a choice or an option to choose when, who, where I show up for. I'm going to show up every day no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those, I mean, I'm very blunt. If you're one of those that picks and chooses where and when and who you show up for, you're a fucking piece of shit and you're a low life, because that just means you are taking everything else for granted and you're not really setting yourself up to be successful. And that's cool and all if that works for you. But that to me is not wanting something better out of life. And that to me means you're ungrateful for the life you've been given. And that to me also means you don't care about the people around you.
Yeah,
End of story, period.
I think you hammered it, man. You said it's a gift. And that's how I look at all of it, man. Like, I'm honored by my adversaries. Like, I'm honored by every challenge that I'm faced with. Like, who would David be without Goliath? Like, you're honored by the equation that's in front of you, because it's going to either command your adaptation reflex to be triggered and for you to evolve at your Phoenix moment, or it's going to destroy you. But without solving that, you can't be better. Like, that moment where you're looking at, hey, I owe the mafia this money, I'm standing here, I'm about to jump, like, you're honored by that pressure.
Yeah.
The purpose within the pain kind of unlocks the potential in your little process. Like, that pressure is like the philosopher's stone that caused you to be like, all right, I'm going to take off. Like, that moment when you're like, all right, dude, you're either going to die or you're going to do this. I'm going to take my life. And if I fail, I'll take my life. And and you're dead serious enough to do it. Like, that's a whole nother thing, you know, that accountability is actually
and
there.
that's why
these troubles are beautiful. They're powerful.
I take great pride in have gone through what I went through. A friend now, but a client that I used to have, he had some LSD issues.
Yeah.
And we would hang out. I'd take him to the gym with me. We'd just go out to dinner and just talk about, and like one of my beliefs, and this is completely unorthodox to the system of how you get better. In my core of my soul,
knowings.
I believe that you should be able to openly talk about and reminisce about the good times when you were using.
Interesting.
It should not be something that's looked down upon. It shouldn't be told to you that if you talk about those good times, it's going to trigger you to want to go back. No, that's a fucking life experience.
Right.
You had some sort of life-altering moment during those times that has helped shape certain things for your future.
And that's why I
is that
say
such a negative? It's not a negative, because I'll sit here and talk about the crazy LSD trips, the cocaine acid trips at the same time, the candy flipping I did at the same time during the good times, because I had certain moments during those that were awakenings that have now helped me for today, and also have helped me how I help people.
Like,
today.
for real. Yeah.
That's why I say that was the worst year and the best year of my life.
Yeah.
For that exact reason. Because if I don't go through all that, a lot of the good that came out of being psychotic for a year in Vegas is I met everyone. Like you say, I know everyone. That's the year I really met everyone. Like, I fucking was out there, like,
just living it up.
One thing, it's weird. Like, I did stand-up comedy for 10 years, but I was actually still kind of shy socially. Didn't really like striking up conversation. But when you're on the fucking stuff, you know, you're talking to everybody, right? So I really got connected. And then getting connected is what helped me when I did get my shit together. I started a PR firm with Gio, and that helped me get clients because I had all these connections, and I was PR is basically the favor business, right? Do this for me and do this for them, then you're right. I owe you, you owe me. That kind of, it's favor trading, and I was able to do all of that because of that shitty year. Yeah, the good that came out of it was I realized you got to respect the money. And you don't work hard enough. Everything was handed to you. It's time to, be a big boy now and turn, you're 31 and you got to start working and really work. And, I did all of those things. And had I not gone through all that bullshit, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why it's a gift.
Well,
man.
again, you want peace. You have to be
ready for war.
Right.
Yeah, war. So chaos and order, angels and demons.
Right.
Yeah, man. Light
It's part of
versus light.
I
live my life like that. And the thing 100%. Is, like, when I go through my everyday life, I look for the darkness in the light, because that's where my actual growth is. Your growth is not during the light times, because that's when it's convenient.
Exactly.
It's easy. There's no pressure. You don't have to fight for anything.
Yeah, man.
When you tap into the dark side every day,
that's where the strength
that's where the growing, that's where the real growth starts to come in.
You were, as they said, as I think Byron said, you were the soldier on the street, right?
He said it.
You said it, Dav. And then you guys were actually soldiers. Is it because you went through what you went through with the military that it's shaped you of who you are for sure, right? Because of all the near death or
Well, yeah, him for yes, because his Phoenix moment was after.
right.
But I think the military really crystallized and canonized a lot of gears that were in me, say from my father's influence and the way I was
Right.
raised, very disciplinarian. So then the military was like the proving ground. It was like, all right, I'm in a platoon full of dudes, turn up the chaos, we're getting hosed down,
Right.
and
that's the thing.
everyone's
You've seen violence. You've both seen levels of violence, right? And obviously, you talk about it every day on your channel, which is how this all came to be. Because I've been addicted to your Instagram.
Oh, thanks, man. That's an honor.
You know, I know you. I just introduced you to him and sent you a link, so I don't know how much you had. It was just yesterday.
I went straight to his website actually. No,
Okay.
Badass.
So you know,
Thank
he really Byron breaks down. You know, he'll take a video of a guy walks into a convenience store and just starts opening fire, or a guy starts stabbing someone, whatever crazy fucking violence that's out there, and then he'll break down. What you could do if you're in that situation, or what this clerk could have done better, or things you need to look out for to see the signs and things like. When you make that content, do you think about like long after you're gone, it's part of your legacy? Like
100%.
Yeah.
So like back to your question, if I get in a car accident on the way home, like am I afraid of death? Like I'm living every single moment for that moment. Or if there's something that happens, a dude walks in here with a shotgun and I have to go to work, like I'm like I've been training for this moment my entire life. If I have to step in front of someone or do something, like that's where I live.
have absolutely changed my life in how I go about life now, because the reason why I started watching you is when 2020 happened and they shut the world down, I told Vanessa, my girlfriend, I was like, we got to get guns.
Right.
We got to get guns. Because all my friends that have guns were like, the world's ending, you got to get guns. They're coming for your food and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. So we went and we learned how to...
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, so we learned how to use them, and then I got addicted to guns.
Yeah.
Like, I was never
That's
anti-gun.
awesome.
I was never anti-gun.
But
But
you just didn't know. Yeah.
No, and now I was like, oh my God, like this is an expensive habit. And I had to like pull back because then ammo was crazy price-wise and stuff, and hard to get. But I mean,
on what you were saying, that's really my goal with those. So it's like most people don't have 10 years to spend in a dojo. They can't go to the range all the time. But like if I can teach them a safer pattern of life, if I can teach them a way to have more awareness, the way not just to be like situational awareness, but break it up. Like
like when you talk about transitional spaces, and like I
tactical positioning,
think of things like dude, and this isn't. I don't mean this is like me being paranoid.
Yeah,
I try not to pee at the fucking urinal. I pick the last stall so that I have as much time as possible. If and when he comes in to do some shit, I'm ready. I got the most amount of time to get it going.
And that's the stuff I want. I want the skills I use to protect the 1% of the 1%. I want people to also realize they can leverage those, and a 100-pound human, like a 100-pound single mom, can live a safer pattern of life with more effective awareness, so that she can avoid, see coming, or just not have to be in the right of bang, the combative situation.
Let me ask you this.
And that's all soft skills. It's so downloadable. Like you can just learn these things.
Earlier today, I was with Vanessa. We were going to the gym, and so I don't know. I tagged you all on a video yesterday. I don't know if I know you're Instagram and you're busy and everything, but I tagged all three of you in it. Did you see here in Vegas?
Oh yeah,
a guy comes in to a convenience store.
I saw that.
Wearing a vest and just starts opening fire on people here in Vegas yesterday or the day before. And
wearing a plate carrier, he had a pistol. I said, and
an Asian guy. And no, that's not Asian hate. Okay, don't cancel me.
Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy.
So Vanessa asked me a question. I'm curious what all three of you think. She said, is random acts of violence more prevalent today in 21 than say it was 30 years ago? Or is it just we have access to more information and so now we're seeing it more often? Or has it gotten worse? I want all three of you to weigh in.
My take is that it has, because the values in America, it has gotten worse because the values in America have shifted. Emotional intelligence, I believe, is at a much lower all-time low, and people have access, and it's much more dangerous now. That dude walked into that store with a plate carrier and a pistol. He probably has an education. He's probably been playing video games, understands a little bit about tactics. He obviously does. He's got the gear to go with it. And
it was premeditated.
Premeditated, yeah. Yeah, so your
is
enemies
scary.
are more
Right.
sophisticated now. They're smarter. So it's much more of a threat, and I believe it happens more often than it probably did. And, so I think for sure the battlefield is changing exponentially. Like the stuff we're seeing come out of Mexico and the stuff we're seeing even happening in LA, things are just changing very quickly. But to answer your question, lower emotional intelligence, senses of entitlement, a lack of accountability from law enforcement, things like that. The way the charges have changed.
Say that again. Say that again.
A lack of respect for authority. Nothing's sacred anymore. Nothing's honorable. I had a video of a guy pickpocketing an old lady in church the other day, like stealing stuff out of
I
church.
saw that. I saw
While she's
that.
praying. I'm like, nothing's
I saw that.
sacred, man. You know?
It's on-
Like
I
back in the
just saw
day,
it.
gangsters used to go to church and like would be cool while we're there in
This
is
church.
a sacred zone.
It's a ceasefire in church, right?
Right, yeah, man. Now nothing's sacred anymore. No accountability. Yeah, for sure. There's way more going down.
And the thing that concerns me is the why. I've always asked for the why.
Yeah.
What value? And then I say, because I look back at some of these incidences that have happened in the United States with acts of random violence.
Yeah.
Like, the guy got picked on at work. He was pissed off. Goes into his work, got fired. He shoots everybody. I'm not saying it's justified.
Yep.
I'm going to be clear.
Yep.
But okay, I know why he did it. I'm not saying it was right.
Right.
This guy just walked in a store and starts shooting at random people.
Yeah.
It's game time.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if I think you
What was
posted
he-
the video about the guy that came in with the machete in the office. Did you see
I
that?
actually interviewed the guy who got in
Wasn't
the
it-
fight with him and defended himself.
Me too, Machete James.
Yeah,
I had him
Machete
on.
James,
yeah.
solid, man.
Yeah, it was
Good
great.
dude, man.
But
Yeah.
like that's the type
Whoa.
of thing. Like you could talk to people and throw out a scenario like that, and they would go, "This never happens. It's
Right.
never gonna happen, and then it's
And
never gonna
that's-
happen until it does."
Yeah, I had to
And-
have a. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like I had to get into when I first started carrying, I had to get into the habit of like sometimes I would pick and choose when I take it out or when I bring it with me,
When
you
you
know, and I'm
carry.
like,
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
It's sad. It's sad. But
Yeah.
have you had a pole ever outside of your duty as an executive protector or security? Have you ever had a pole in
Have
public?
to draw my weapon?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
I've had to do that one time.
Really?
In Seattle. Yeah.
Really?
Never thought I would.
Yeah.
And it was in my car.
Well, and then too, on real quick on what you were saying, the why. Man, one thing I've learned from dealing with these populations is it just our metrics for understanding why doesn't matter at all compared to some of
Well,
these
I
because
mean,
they're I've had people who believe they're just strung out on stuff. They think this is going on.
But here's the thing,
and it's just game time.
It's a mix of number one, yeah, for sure. It's escalated. Like it's way worse now than it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I also believe it is. But I believe the reason being is because of how much access we have to information. Because you have on a global level between social media, the news. The media is now more fucked up than it's ever been, and it's turning people against each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's playing these mental games,
Social
that's
engineering.
causing people to actually have emotional meltdowns, and they're just purely reactive on
Yeah.
what they see, and then all of a sudden they feel like they're targets, and
Yeah.
they just start reacting to the rest of the world. And like not long ago, I actually want to read this because not long ago I made a post about how everyone thinks that going to war is just you're going to war in the battlefield if you're part of the military, and
Yeah.
that's it. But like every single day, we're going to war.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're someone that doesn't want to be in a state of readiness, if you're somebody that wants to pretend and act like it's never going to happen to me, you're fucked.
You're an
like,
ostrich.
You're so fucked.
Yeah, you're so an ostrich. Like you're a sheep. Like
you're
it's
gone.
over.
You're gonna get so like I want to read this because it's funny
Yeah.
that you brought this up and asked because this is on that topic, and I know it's
Yeah.
gonna sound weird to some people because it starts off spiritual a little bit, but. I said, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear fucking nothing. Say it with me. The war is amongst us in our day-to-day life, and most will choose to ignore that. Not everything we see and hear is direct, but indirectly it has massive cause and effect. Many things you see, hear, and touch are not what we think they are either. The devil is disguised as an angel in various forms. Manipulation, true narcissism, control, destruction, intentional fake behavior and lies. We become what we consume. You know how many people will manipulate you and be loyal to you for their own personal convenience, then the ungrateful behavior begins. If your awareness isn't dead on, you'll get fucked in some shape or another, small or
Yeah.
big. True evil isn't the monsters we know and hear about who go to prison or get caught for illegal crimes. True evil are the ones in disguise. The ones we know and hear about are troubled individuals who lost their way in life and saw no other outlet. No, I'm not condoning or excusing any of that shit either, but evil ones have a direct intent to try and turn your world inside out if you are not prepared in every way. The word try, that's the key word. If prepared, you'll witness their world crumble and karma go on full-blown assault. I've witnessed it with my own eyes, I promise, but make no mistake, They will take yours down with them if you're not ready. This is not some wild-ass thought process or crazy thinking. This is the realest of realities. We all wish everyone was great and everyone truly cared and loved people. Most do, most learn late and the hard way, but then there are others. Raise your awareness, be prepared for daily wars amongst us, and take care of your loved ones. Teach and educate them about real life, business, family, spirituality, loyalty and honor, mindset, reading, readiness, enemies, preparation. Don't undervalue any of these. I'm telling you, if you are one of those who thinks no way, never me, you are either fucked or you are playing too small in life to encounter any of this. Facts.
100%, man.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff in there. That's so chewy, man. There's so much good stuff in there to touch.
But that literally is every single day
100%.
right now.
Yeah, to an aware person, to a person who's actually in reality, like you're taking in high volumes of reality, and
But that's
so
why I made
many
a post
people.
for that, because there's so many people that are choosing to ignore reality that I'm like, wake up and listen to this message and understand that if you are getting consumed by this pretentious, toxic positivity, you're so gone.
Yeah,
You're history.
And these problems we have, these positivity stuff, and like all the problems we have, they are a luxury. Like there's such a the fact that we even have time to get like wrapped around the axle about just pronouns and he, she, black, white, and all this stuff. It's a luxury. I mean, in the military, man, you could be orange, purple, pink, whatever, man.
cares?
It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. When it's time to talk crap, we talking crap about each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we got to fight in the back of the squad bay. We got to fight in the back of the squad bay.
at the end of
And
the day-
then when it's time to go to work, we're going to go to work.
But you got to be back to back and know that the other person's got your back.
100%. This stuff is a luxury, man. It's crazy to me. It's not real.
Yeah, so it was crazy that you mentioned that, because I was like, dude, I just talked about this.
So
Yeah, man.
going back to that question you asked earlier, what shaped us?
Yeah.
The military saved me.
Yeah, me too.
Because I knew if I didn't go in, I had no direction. And I was just hanging out with a bunch of knuckleheads. Still friends with some of them. We're bad kids, but just, eventually you're going to get into bad shit,
You go
right?
heavy.
But then I went in, and after I saw all the life's loss and stuff happening, the why came up, right? We were doing a little bit of your combat was a little different than mine, right? We're legalized hitman, really. And then when I got out, but what motivated me is my whole life, nobody ever believed in me. Nobody said I would amount to anything. Nobody had any faith or conviction that I would succeed. In high school, I got voted all talk, no action.
Really?
What a gift.
And I went to
What a gift.
and the only thing I could do is run my ass off on the football field, box like a freaking middleweight champion, right? And then I was angry. But my best revenge is I'll show you.
Right.
And so even to this day, I think there was I won't say how many year reunion came up on Facebook, and I said, oh yeah, everybody's like, oh, I got voted this. I got voted all talk, no action. And I said,
And here I am.
And I said, I outperform every one of you.
Right.
Right?
King Kong ain't got us.
Right?
Yeah,
Because it's I'll
Training
show,
day.
Yes, 100%, man. That's
This ain't checkers, this is chess, motherfucker.
I know, right?
Right? And so it was I had to prove to myself that I'm not going to let anybody's words. They say sticks and stones will break my bones, but
Words will never hurt you.
But they do. They do.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to build a resistance. And then growing up biracial, having the identity crisis, like I'm white, I'm black. No, you're not black enough. You're not white enough.
Yeah.
Are you Italian?
Right.
No, I'm not fucking Italian. I'm not Mexican either. Nothing wrong with Italians or Mexicans, just a disclaimer. But my Instagram says black and white, best of both, because I had an identity issue.
Yeah.
And I never fit in with the cultures.
Same here, man. Yeah,
I never
get
fit.
'em.
I never fit in with the area I grew up in. I went to 12 schools in 12 years, and I never fit in with anybody. In fact, I never fit in Seattle. I moved here, and now I got all these great friends. I love it here.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that drive of I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to beat your face in, but I'm going to do it by my success. So the best revenge is to live well.
Yeah.
So here's my accomplishments, and oh no, I'm not done. You'll see the jet next year. Oh, yeah. And it's not just but it also, I think Sean said something he about his car. And my joke was, growing up, saying, why you got a car that big? Oh, because I have a low self-esteem. It makes me feel better about myself. I know it's a V12 Mercedes. That's all I can afford right now.
Yeah.
Because for me, I want to feel good.
Yeah.
And maybe that's my drug, right? But I just, you know what? When you tell me no, I'm going to say, fuck this. I'm going to prove this dude wrong.
Yep.
And Sean and me got that mindset. You got that mindset.
Yep.
And then when I was in combat, everything was slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally would see bullets come by, and people were dropping. I'm like, people say, well, are you religious? I said, if you're not religious, you go to combat, all of a sudden you're fine. Jesus, help me, God. I'll never do this again. I'll never pee on my dog. I'll never do this again, right?
If you let me out of this, I swear to God.
I'll never pee on my dog. Not that I did that. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start, you don't feel invincible, but you feel this energy of like, I'm here. I have a purpose.
Protection.
How am I going to impact?
It's so
how am I going to
real.
impact? How many people's lives are you going to impact?
Yeah.
And when my mentor Brad Wilgemont said, people that make a lot of money have impacted people's lives. You're not going to make a lot of money just say, I want to go make money. You got to change the world. You got to change and impact people's lives, and
Contribute.
then the wealth comes behind it. Warren Buffett. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Anybody out there.
Sure.
Sean's impacted hundreds of people's lives, and he's reaping the benefits. But that's not why he does it.
Right.
Right. It's a selfless act of, hey, this guy I just met, he's inspired me. I want to get to know the guy. But I'm not doing it for my own satisfaction of what can I get from him, but how can I grow from him, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, my motivation, how can I be a better player and a team player? Right?
Yeah, I think for me too, like my version of that was, like I never been that, like I was in the infantry, big deal, I'm like 5'10", big deal, like I was never that amazing at anything, I'd be like kind of like in the middle of the platoon, like in the runs, like I was always a leader, but I was always like, when I got out and I started getting to social media, I was like, well, I'm not that really cool, like what am I gonna like how am I gonna what's my angle,
I'm not Dan Blazarian.
and so I started kind of being like, well, geez, but they say your gift will make room for you. So I started focusing on contribution, like how can I contribute at higher and higher and higher and higher levels? And like that's part of my message is like you may be imperfect, right? You may be ugly, short, fat, whatever it is, but if you can just invest in yourself to become more valuable and make better and higher quality, contribute on higher and higher levels, your gift will make room for you. So continue working on yourself, continue becoming more valuable, and your gift will make room for you. And
Do you know what one of the biggest things
everything's about contribution.
That's a cheat code right there.
It's not even about me. Like it's not about like it's like if I can.
People, one of the things that bothers that truly like is disruptive.
Grinds your gears.
Disruptive, disruptive in my head is how undervalued personal growth really is to the degree where you make yourself a more valuable player in the game of life. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, most people are in the game of life to play the game of life. I'm in the game of life to fucking win as hard as I can and help other people win at the same time.
Right.
And by doing so, you have to increase your identity, improve who 100%. You are, improve the degree of how much value you're giving to another person.
Right.
And some people just coasting and they think like they shit talk on personal growth and value and development. I'm like,
what else?
If you were a stock, if you were a stock and you don't find any value in improving your identity, why the fuck would I ever even put 5 cents into you?
Right.
Because that means you're going to be a bad, dead investment. Where 100%. Me, someone puts $100 in me, I'm gonna turn it into $1 million for them.
That's exactly the game, man. That's the game. Yeah, man. And I've never, I'll say like personal growth, I'll talk about that stuff and you'll see people kind of roll their eyes. And I get it. Like, like some of it's been weaponized.
It sounds cliche.
It's turned kind of snake oily in some ways, but it's like, there's no other freaking game in town. Like, I don't want a seat at the table because I'm cool. Like, I want a seat at the table because I can generate value because I want to be able to run with the pack. Because
at the seat at the high table? Where's that from?
At the high,
John Wick.
Yeah, man. I got so much on that, man. I'm putting together an excommunicado party, but anyways, we'll talk about that. But we build the table. But so yeah, man, it's like you don't want to. Everyone's focused on being cool and being like accepted, and I'm like, dude, forget about that trash. Focus on being valuable on a deep level, something that no one can take away from you because they weren't there when you earned it for your dang self,
And what's funny is at the end of it, when you're really up there and people know you, then they're like, dude, you remember me? Like, we're buddies. Like, no, motherfucker. Like, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
Like, you had no belief. You wrote me off.
I couldn't. Yeah.
I didn't care. Mm-hmm. But now that something else is going on and you want a piece of it, I don't think so.
We're boys now, right? Yeah.
No. It's dude, life is very interesting in so many different levels, especially when it comes to people. People intrigue me. In various ways, and I'm always like, I'm a behavior specialist. So when I see certain behaviors take place, I start to analyze right away by default. I don't even think about it. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, what is going through your head where you start to devalue certain things that are supposed to be at the highest levels of value in your life?
Right.
Why are you demonizing it? Why are you making it look so little? Why are you belittling it when it should be the number one asset that you have? Why? Mm-hmm. Why?
When you're working with clients, do you try to open their eyes to a lot of the content, the message of the content that you put out, or are you just literally there to protect them? Like, do you try to help them evolve as well, or I would imagine a lot of them don't even want to hear it, right?
Totally different relationship.
It's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just go protect, serve. That's it, right?
100%. Yeah, when I'm working, I'm like a knight.
Got it.
Like, I'm here. I've got your back. I'm going to render the best service possible. I'm going to do it as much your way as I can while keeping you as safe as possible.
Is it mostly celebs or just all walks of life, CEOs or important business guys? Like
more high net worth folks, families. I actually do a lot of church stuff, a lot of faith-based stuff as well. Celebs are cool, they're awesome, but it's a different client demographic. It's
right.
A demographic. I've done a lot of them, but now I aim more at the people with itineraries.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's called babysitting, right?
Oh man, it gets interesting.
Well, it doesn't. My guess is that it doesn't align with your values and what type of people you want to be associated with, even in your line of work.
That's correct? Very important, yes. Now, because of where I'm at in my career, I can pick and choose. So I'm getting in bed with you, our values align.
The last few months, I've been harping and pressing hard on my social media about values. Like, everything's value-based. And if you don't have values, like, I don't even want to know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about our association, because if our values don't align, I don't know what the hell you and I could possibly do or want to even go hang out. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to do business about? Because if our values don't match, you're going to fuck me over in some shape or form.
Frequency is going to be off. Wisdom, discipline, purpose, freedom, and excellence and contribution. Those are my values.
You made a comment earlier about fitting in, right? That was the realization that helped me move forward, because I spent my younger life always trying to fit in. As soon as I said I don't give a fuck,
everything
I
changed.
posted this meme because it reminded me of it. It says they didn't give me a seat at the table, so I grabbed my own and made a throne.
Yeah.
Now
that's been the game.
And I was always trying to fit in.
Yeah.
As a follower, right? And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't give a shit about them. They don't care about me. I'm just going to grind it out, put my head down. And now it's like, we're going to hang out. No, we're not hanging out.
I'm hammering.
Values. Look, and I got a different perspective, similar to yours. On values, like, I don't care what you do in your personal life. I don't judge you. But if we're going to be around each other, some of the stuff I don't agree with can't come to the table. Right? Because I'm that guy that says don't judge anybody. Like, Jesus said, don't judge anybody. Okay, I can't judge you because I got more skeletons than right. It's like, damn, get the shit out of the closet. But I can be comfortable in my skin and tell you who I am.
Right.
And say, I don't give a fuck. This is who I am. Well, you're perverted, or you're this guy. This is who I am. But when we come to the table, I leave those skeletons in the closet. Now, if I meet a guy that's doing something, I don't know what he's doing. When I'm around him, I don't want those skeletons at the table, but I give everybody the latitude and opportunity to impact somebody's life, right? So the values of, hey, are you willing to be positive, move forward in life and help people and impact people's lives and uplift yourself and others? Great. Now, what you do in your spare time, I'm not judging you. That's just me. Because I'm not perfect. We're not. None of us are. We all have our issues, right? And so I think other than Will Smith, nobody can find any skeletons in his closet, right? Maybe Jada's, but not his, right? I don't want to go there.
No, for sure, man. Yeah.
A couple times.
I will not comment at this time.
The values, well, one, I mean, I'm not big on, I have my inner circle, but the values are like I kind of roll with that judge but don't condemn. Like I know. I know a tree by its fruit.
Because
that's a freaking pear tree. That's a dang banana tree.
Right.
That's a rotting tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if
I don't want that around me.
If that fruit isn't at a certain level, you just make it to a certain place, and I have certain things that I can give you and certain levels we can interact in. But you're gonna stay kind of there until I see that fruit.
I like the way you said that. I judge you, but I don't condemn you. That's that's probably the perfect way to say how I live my life by. Because unless you're someone that's like, you are in a shitty place, you do have shitty values, and you're like, I need to fucking change. I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do.
I love that.
I'm like, let's go. Let's go. Come on, stay attached to my hip. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't take advice from other people. Let's just go, and I'll take you where you need to go.
Like, you don't want to be around the negative Nelly all day, right?
There's a huge energetic thing.
I can't do it.
It's crazy how some people will just wallow in that.
You're toxic.
Well, here's the thing. Like, being a follower, like, here's what I can't imagine. Like, if you're a follower where you just want to fit in, can you imagine the amount of weight inside of you and your emotions on your shoulders to want to just follow and just want to fit in so bad. Like,
That was me.
The weight,
You're
the weight
hollow
of that-
inside. Yeah.
I think everybody
weight
at some
of
point
that.
wanted to fit in. Everybody at some point wanted to fit in.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's a lot of pressure, and that's why a lot of these people, the
they're killing themselves.
the Instagram
and shoot-
girls, they want to be that girl, and they try to fit in, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like they just end up suicide, or shooting people, or
Yeah, I mean,
I want to be like John. I'm not funny like him.
the smile. No,
It's a lot of pressure.
I started out that way too, man. But I had to learn the same lesson, and it was such a
Right?
gift. Like I go to the Bahamas, they're like, fat boy, you're too American. Like, yo, the American's soft, so let's jump the Americans. So I had to fight every dang summer. I had to fight everybody every summer. Then I go back to the U.S. I'm back in Washington State. I'm the only black kid. You know what I mean? So
Gig Harbor, bro.
Yeah, Gig Harbor's pretty nice, right?
What's that?
But before that, I lived in like Des Moines and stuff like that with all the Samoans and stuff. So I'm
Des
the only
Moines?
black dude, So I had to deal with
Midway
that.
Drive-In movie theater.
Yeah,
Swap meet.
Literally 5 minutes from that exact place. Whatever, bro.
Highway
Federal
99.
Way, all that, dude. Yeah. So I'm out there, and so I never fit in. And when the black dude showed up, like I wasn't black enough to be like.
Wait, did you go to Chinook or Rainier High School or Chinook?
Wait, how are you not black enough?
Oh boy.
I don't mean the insulting way, but just a short version of that. Like, what?
Chinook Winds Casino. Where's that? Isn't that up? Is that near you?
No, that's way north.
Okay.
No, no.
I've been
Chinook
there.
Middle School.
Been
is
there.
Des Moines.
Okay.
I played for Des Moines Junior Football. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Imperial Bearcats. Yeah.
I played for the Rams too, man.
Oh,
That's what's up,
shit.
dude. That's
Alumni.
That's crazy,
Rams
man.
alumni.
That's
There you
wild. Yeah, man. So I the black thing came in. I mean, just the way I was raised. Like, okay, so my dad, he's like, not an immigrant because he didn't come over here, but he's a very successful entrepreneur in the Bahamas, was on a magazine, one of the most successful entrepreneurs. He's been a pimp. Like, he's that guy. And he raised us, and he was always like, look, there's a difference between African Americans and black people. And he always was like, you don't speak like that. You pull your pants up. He's like, son, you want to be in hell?
It's
He's
a
like,
cultural, not a black. It's cultural.
it's a cultural thing. So
Yeah.
he'd be like, you want to go to hell? He's like, you ain't got to die to go to hell. You be an uneducated black man in America, you're already in hell. So he always was like on us and trying to keep me kind of on a higher path. My sister took the other path, and her life was just went crazy. So when I would be around like normal African American people, I'd be like, hi, how are you doing? And they'd be like,
Carlton.
and then I had to fight all
there
them
you go,
too,
yeah.
right? So it's
Hey, big guy.
and then and so it was, I wasn't like cheesy, but I just wasn't like that,
Right, right.
So that was another friction point,
Okay.
and it still is sometimes, even with my content. I posted a picture the other day. I drop maybe 1 to 2 videos a day. I publish 1 to 2 videos a day. Like I spend thousands of dollars on creating content. I don't know anyone else in the space that keeps up with the pace of production, right?
unbelievable.
And so, I got all this stuff I'm proud of. One picture stands as the most popular piece of content I've ever posted. The most interaction, most engagement. It's a picture, you've all seen it, of 3 black guys in court. A lawyer, a gangster, and a bailiff, the cop dude. They're all standing there, and I just said, choice over everything. Ultimately, the sum totals of your decisions will be the outcome of your life. I spent the next 2 weeks fighting underneath that post because people weren't having it. It was mostly black people. I was whitewashed. I was an Uncle Tom. I was a victim of racism that didn't know that he was a victim of racism. And I'm just sitting there like,
I'm trying to find it.
I'm like, I didn't come from any. I came from a lower middle class.
That's the mindset.
It's all mindset.
You're a victim in your head.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not a victim. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I just refuse. Now.
Oh, you don't understand. No, I do understand. Oh, you're not black enough. Well, I've been on both sides.
Yeah,
of
that's what
racism.
I'm saying. Like, I've been poor. I came from a third world country. I went and I joined the military. I almost died
That's
a
a
bunch of
victim
times.
mentality.
Then I went and became an entrepreneur. And it's like there hasn't been anything handed to me.
Aren't you convinced that people suffer and they're victims because of the media? People telling them that they're a victim.
Exactly. Exactly.
You got so much opportunity.
You know what?
And it kills
in
me.
this country. Look at where we come from.
I only
kills
believe that
me.
to a small extent because
Wait, believe what?
what he just said from how people you get influence of being a victim.
They take
To
what's
me,
easy.
Well, it's really their own fucked up validation of their shortcomings. because they know they're falling short. They know they're not delivering. They don't
It's
want
an
to go
easy
do
road.
the hard route. They don't want
Yeah.
to do the hard shit. They don't want to go work their ass off.
Look
They
in
don't
the
wanna
mirror.
they don't want to put 100 hours into a week.
Right.
So because they fell short and they're failing at life, and now that media saying, "Oh, you're a victim, you're this, you're that," it's like, "Oh yeah, that's me." It's like,
Right.
no, what? So because the TV is validating,
But
how you
your
feel
association
and
too.
your shortcomings,
Right.
then
The easy road.
it's okay.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of stories of people that grew up, and honestly, especially with all the studying psychology and all that stuff and all that. But my heart does go out to young people that have two retarded parents that don't get to see until they finally, at some point, if they even get to see, how to actually live a life effectively, because they grew up in some retarded environment. But it still can be done, and it still can happen. And
Yeah, look
ultimately,
at-
Well,
the sum total of your life is your responsibility.
Every single person that lives that is in some sort of really shitty situation.
Yeah.
There's a story out there that had that same exact situation,
won.
literally to the T, and is winning at the highest
and is
level.
murdering it. Exactly.
And it's there. And to
Yeah.
think that, there's no story like mine that's out. Like, no,
Yeah,
dude, you're
no, no, no,
crazy.
no, no, no,
There's-
yeah, yeah.
There's too
But
many
not
people
that, yeah.
I'll say
over
this.
the course of several hundred years.
There's no one
that have
that's
been-
that
there's
special.
No way.
Yeah.
You're not that special.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That you're the only one person on this face of the earth
Yeah, yeah.
in the beginning of lifetime that's got that one
The
situation
perfect
that no one's
synergy
ever-
of just
where my
of
life
crap.
just sucks and no one's ever made it out.
Exactly, and that's the cheat code. That's the
it's
reality.
It's like in the Batman movie, the one with Bane,
Yeah.
where no one's made it out of the hole.
Yeah, but Bane.
I
love
but,
Bane.
Well,
by the way.
no, Bane got rescued out of the hole.
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
But the daughter made it out, and then Bruce Wayne made it out, but no one else has the same
Yeah.
exact.
But
thing.
you're also a product of your environment, and that's the thing. You got to find a way out, right? So your
Right.
association and product,
You can't
keeps you
blame
there
that.
and you can't blame it.
Right.
We saw it. We're like, I got to get out of here. I ran to the military.
Yeah.
I'm looking around like he has what I don't want, and what am I going to do? Right.
To own it and make a decision. Like your environment, same thing. You're like looking at this thing. You're like, this is carnage. Like I got to make a change. That's the moment I want to help people get to.
You know what's funny? You said, I like chaos. I don't like carnage.
Yeah, exactly. That's huge, man.
And you
Because
did it at a really young age. At 21, you
Before it turned 21,
That's pretty amazing.
My 21st birthday was coming up, and here's the thing too. Like one of the things where I had that realization was, or that revelation was, because I had no childhood growing up. From like the day I could walk, my father used to beat the shit out of me. My mom and my sister were emotionally abusive to me. My sister put her hands on me too. She gets mad. We don't even have a relationship because I said that. She like denies it. So I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
And then at 12, I started drug addiction, and I was just heavy into drugs right out the gate. And then by like 13 or 14, I'm drug dealing, cocaine, marijuana, and a couple other things I get my hands on. And then from that point, I'm nothing but a fucked up addict, and I never saw even 5 minutes of being sober. So for 8.5 years straight, every second of 8 years, I was on something the whole time.
Wow.
And then right before I turned 21, I'm like, dude, I had no childhood. I was beaten. I was abused. I used drugs. I got no childhood to fucking really like be prideful of, other than I took a lot of lessons out of it that I can apply to my real life. And then at 21, right when I turned 21, I'm like, okay, either die or do something with it.
Turned you into a hard dude.
And that's when, like I said, I really truly believe the Spirit spoke to me and was like, you deserve to give yourself a chance. No one gave you one. Go give it to yourself.
Yeah, and those moments are big, man. I'm impressed at your brain. Like you're still so.
I'm impressed by it too,
like
not to sound like a fucking
razor
narcissist
sharp.
about it.
Yeah.
Because like I should have a completely melted raisin brain by now.
Yeah.
Did you and your dad ever have like a long
Like you got a
conversation?
regiment, bro. You
I'd
got
like to see a brain scan of Sean's brain.
It's probably still half missing, to be honest.
Did you and your dad ever hash out like why he did that? Like you had to have some sort of.
So what happened was, after I got sober, I still talked to him for a couple of years. So from like 21 to 23, we talked a little bit here and there. But then I went on a 4-year streak where I didn't even talk to him at all. I avoided his phone calls. I didn't return in messages. Like I just didn't talk to him at all. And then it got to a point where he's like not trying to like hunt me down, not in a negative way, but trying to find like, where's my son?
Right.
And then some family friends ended up running into me at the gym. And then I guess that word got back to my dad. And then one day, like one of our family friends, a female, she sees me. She's like, hey, she's like, how's it going? Da da da. And she's like, she's like, why don't you talk to your dad anymore? And I'm like, because he's a piece of shit. Like this is what he did to me. This is what I had to deal with. and he just denies everything. And she's like, yeah, but he's your father. He misses you. He loves you. He's your dad. You can't talk about him. And I'm like, I can talk about my father however the hell I want. I'm like, you're not going to tell me. I don't even know you anymore. It's been years since you and I have even spoken. And now I run into you one day at the gym and you want to tell me go back and talk to my father. You don't even know the story other than my dad misses me.
Right.
And then fast forward like another 2-3 years, and somehow my father knows exact what time I'm in the gym. And this is like 40 miles away
Pops
from
ain't
me.
messing around.
Dad shows up at the front door of the gym, and I'm like, what the? And I get called. Sean, you have a visitor at the front. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you doing here? And we step outside. We have a small conversation. I'm like, all right, I'll call you later. We'll talk. We go out to grab a bite to eat, and then it slowly started to rebuild. And then I kind of had a conversation with myself, and I had another revelation. And I'm like, look, like this is me having a conversation with myself. I'm like, Sean, 4 years your dad has been struggling and trying hard to get a hold of you. Every single day phone calls, every single day voicemails, every single day emails. Like not a day went by, 4 years straight. I'm like, that merits something.
Yeah. I'm
like, so let me give him a chance, because just 4 years of relentless, persistency of trying to get a hold of his own son, I got to get it to him. Plus, he lost his first son. This whole arm is dedicated to my brother and his gravestone and everything.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, let me give him a chance. And then so we slowly started to reestablish a relationship, and we kind of have one. I just keep him and my mother at arm's distance because they still try to cross certain boundaries, and they still kind of like whenever the conversation, somehow the topic of my past comes up, they're in like full-blown denial about like to the full degree. And I'm like, do you remember the black eye you gave me? Do you remember when you put my face in the floor? Do you remember when you knocked me out? Do you remember when you cracked me in the head while I'm taking a shit at the age of 6? Like, do you remember any of this stuff? It's like, I never did any of that stuff. And I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, so I'm delusional.
To deal with it. Yeah.
So I'm delusional.
Golly,
and I'm like, he's
heavy,
like, I only put my hands on you to toughen you up and make you stronger when the time's came. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, that's not education.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, so like for the most part, it's good. But I don't really talk to any other family. It's just, I got to a point in life the last 5-6 years, and I know everybody's like this, but mine's like really, I don't have blood family that I could say I'll go to war for and I'll take a bullet for any day. There's not a single person in my blood that I would do that for. No one. Well, my oldest sister, who's, God bless her, but she doesn't have a lot of time left. And obviously for my brother, I would have as well. But now I truly choose who becomes blood to me. At this point, like there's my acquaintances, there's friends, but I don't like to use that word loosely.
Right.
There's my circle, and then there's my inner circle.
Yeah.
My inner circle, my circle, man. If you're part of that, I will literally take bullets for you.
100%.
If you betray me, I will turn your life inside out.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's healthy, man. I think that's the way of it.
It's standard. Well, here's the thing.
Because-
It's my standards and it's my values. And if you fuck over my values and I've let you into my circle, you're going to awaken the devil that I've caged in over the years.
Right. Exactly, 100%. And I live a lot the same way. You have your family that you sent here with, and then you have your family you choose, and that's been huge for me, man. That's been really big for me, because those are the guys that have been there for me when my family, hasn't been there for me. Yeah, exactly. That's my pack.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, not something I like to talk about too much, though. Just because of what I do.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. What you do. Yeah. That was interesting. You had said when I asked you, because you were here a few weeks ago, and I saw you were at the Raider game, like on the field.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're still in town? You're like, oh, no, I'm gone. I don't post in real time. Is that... I mean, obviously, I get it. It makes sense. But it's also shocking to me. Like, you? Like, what is it? Like, you're you. You're fucking, what do you want? Like, you.
Oh, yeah.
But
absolutely.
still, just because you never know.
100%. Everyone's touchable. The more visibility you have, the bigger of target you might become. I live in a world with people that have to deal with that. I protect those people. And then even as a civilian, like, yo, check out this sweet AR I just got last week. Like, you're just Joe Schmo that got a cool AR. You're just excited, and like, maybe a few weeks later, you're like, yo, check it out. I'm in Cancun. And then the homies are at your house getting your AR,
I was just going to ask you. Like, I was just in New York for 4 days. And of course, I'm posting because I'm in New York. But sometimes I kind of have to because it's part of like what I do.
You have to do, yeah.
But it's still a bad idea.
Yeah, but
right?
Vanessa's tougher than you. So
that's true. Yeah. Well, she was with me also. But yeah.
Or even
your cat, maybe your dog.
Cats will fuck you up.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the digital realm has brought a whole nother level of vulnerability to everybody that they just simply don't understand yet.
Right.
And so, even when I see friends like, yeah, yeah, I'm in Cancun. Like, here's me at the beach. And I'm like,
Man, like
you
post
probably
it after.
won't. You probably won't listen to me, but you shouldn't post that you're not home when you're not home. You know,
Right.
you shouldn't post these.
That's foolish.
Ultra vulnerable. Yeah, you're at a restaurant, fine. You know, but like, there's just a lot.
You got to keep them guessing.
100%.
Well,
And with
all my
what I
posts are
do,
at
it's
different
like
times.
Yeah,
You know,
you'll
it says
see.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm already home.
Yeah.
Someone can establish a pattern of life on you in 2 seconds, and it's really easy to do. I mean, someone can just pop on your Instagram, and if you're on Twitter, oh my gosh, the information people can get on you in terms of your posting
I
schedule.
think Snap
So,
would probably be worse, right?
yeah, I haven't looked too much into Snapchat, but yeah, I mean, all these things are ways for people to just aggregate info on your
I
life.
find it interesting when people are always posting where they're at in the moment.
Yeah,
Because
man.
I don't want people to know.
They
I don't
want the
people to know-
attention.
I don't want people to know
Yeah.
what
They
time what time it is. Like I want any of that stuff because at the end of the day, like listen.
It's my life, man.
But also, like, if somebody decides to figure out where I live too, like, I got animals.
I got animals.
And if I walked into my house and my animals have been shredded, like, someone or people are going to be buried, and I will spend my life figuring out who.
Yeah.
I just installed.
And my animals, I mean, I got like, 250-pound dog in there that just, have fun.
Good luck.
I got a 12-pound bruiser. He's like this.
you?
No. I just spent. I got a whole installation of infrared motion
Nice.
cameras, voice activated.
Oh, nice.
Everything
You
is.
can talk to them.
You have 10 seconds to get away from the front door. You'll be
Like I can talk to the guys. What the fuck is, she pulls
There
up
you
in
go.
the car. I can see her, and I start talking to her through the camera. So I got all that installed because of the same
Yeah.
concern. I got kids.
Yeah, man.
I hate to
Exactly.
say these words, but we have to wrap this up.
This has been awesome.
Any final thoughts from Byron?
Man, we covered
it all.
Right, we covered so many topics. I would say, focus on your ability to contribute. When you look in the mirror, you see how imperfect you are. Don't worry as much about that, but worry about how much you can invest in your individual capital, in yourself, so you can make higher quality contributions. Second thing I'd say is when it comes to safeguarding your life, learn how to live a safer pattern of life rather than focusing on one skill that supposedly is going to save you or one tool that's supposedly going to save you. 99% of things can be avoided with soft skills.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like just on a day-to-day basis, no matter what you're doing, where you are, and where you're going, and who you're with, always have that Redcon mentality. Be in a state of readiness, and be on your toes and 100% aware and alert at all times, no matter what. 24, even when you're sleeping, like let your subconscious be as alert as possible. That way, you are prepared and ready for anything, even if it's on an emotional level.
Exactly.
I truly believe in that 100%. And people have tried to talk shit to me when I say those kind of words, and I'm like, no, listen, like if I'm that ready, I'm impenetrable.
Yeah.
I really am emotionally invincible at that point.
Yep.
Because being that alert allows you to even make better decisions, as you talk about, for your life in the moment and decisions for the future. So that's my.
Davrick?
Seize the day. Carpe diem, right? I think that every minute you breathe and live and sleep is a moment of opportunity to change somebody's life and impact yourself. You got to think about yourself, but at the same time, who are you going to bring with you? And so I feel that there's always an opportunity in a negative and a positive, and you got to look at everything in the light and say, hey, can I make this happen? Can I win today? That's my mindset.
100%.
I knew this trio was going to make for an incredible podcast. Thank you for coming today.
No, thanks for putting it together. For
Yeah,
real,
man. Impactpreneurs. If you're not listening to them yet, check them out. They're on Spotify. No, are they on Spotify yet and all that? We need to get them on
Spotify.
Spotify,
Why is
but they're
that?
on YouTube. Yeah, they're on YouTube. And Byron Rodgers. Travis has posted all their socials, and I'll put it in the links for the audio portion as well. But, man, thank you so much, guys. This is really fun. But I want a verbally binding agreement from the three of you that this is just the first time we do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
have to do another one.
Yeah,
It's
let
like,
me know.
Done.
Say when. We got
All
to
right.
do some things, yeah.
We will see you next time.
Boom.
Bye now.
Have a great day.